हेलो गाइस, वेलकम टू द गुनर कास्ट। द इंटरनेशनल ब्रेक इज हियर एंड कोई मैच नहीं है देखने को, इसलिए अभी हम आर्सेनल के पूरे सीजन के बारे में हम बात करते हैं। बिकॉज फॉर मी द सीजन इज ओवर, राइट? एंड प्रीमियर लीग में तो कोई चांस है नहीं, और मैड्रिड से चैंपियंस लीग में मैच है तो वो भी थोड़ा सा टफ लग रहा है। तो मेरे को लगता है कि ये बिल्कुल सही टाइम है अपने सीजन का पूरा रिव्यू करने के लिए। एंड चेल्सी का भी मैच हुआ था, एंड फाइनली 2021 से अभी तक हम हारे नहीं है उनसे। बट फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम ऑन माय चैनल वी हैव गॉट टू एस्टीम्ड गेस्ट. So we have got Prathamesh and Tarun from Mumbai.
Yeah,
So
thanks a
welcome
lot for
guys.
having us. Yeah, thanks for all
Uh,
for having us.
thank you
Thank
for
you so
having
much.
us.
Thank you for pitching in, guys. So we're gonna start with the Chelsea game. So what are your thoughts on that game?
So yeah, thanks a lot, Dipesh, for having me on. International break has obviously come at the right time for us. Hopefully we'll have Saka back once the break is done. White and Martinelli obviously, are fit, and once the break is done, we can expect them to, kind of play more minutes, get more fitter, and hopefully start against Madrid. So as far as Chelsea game is concerned, I think it was standard 1-0 win for us. Wasn't much happening. Like we should have scored more, obviously, but Saka and Kai Havertz not playing actually affected us a lot. It should have been a 4-0 victory for us, and I don't think
True.
Chelsea fans would have disagreed as well. But right now there are no complaints. Like the priority for us is to grab 3 points, grab a win, and hopefully come out with no injuries. So I just had a couple of points which I had in mind. Three players which actually stood out for me. The first one is MLS. Obviously, he has been really, really fantastic last 2 or 3 months, right? And he's been supporting the press from the deep. He's been very good one-on-one. So we saw it against Chelsea wingers and fullbacks. He has been very, very good against them. Very well while defending at the back post, and he makes very good runs when needed by the team, right? So he's like one of the revelations for us. Second player actually whom I think had a really good game and people aren't actually talking about it. It's actually Martinelli, right? And he didn't actually score an assist, so a lot of people actually don't recognize it. But he was extremely, extremely dangerous on the ball, and he was delivering really well from the right, like good balls from the right, and he was like doing it consistently. And he's back after a while, right? He's been back after
True.
after an injury, so really good
Actually.
performance from him. So really, really good, really impressed by him. The third player is I think is Rice, and one of the players who actually has a knack of showing up in big games, right? So if you see his record against the big six, it's like very, very elite, right? So yesterday again, I mean against Chelsea, it was another instance where he showed up and he performed well. So these three are the players who stood out for me, and all three I think will need to do well if we have to like win against Madrid.
What are your thoughts about that penalty shout? Tarun, I would like to ask you
Cucurella,
that.
right? Cucurella,
Uh,
right?
Yeah,
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 so
yeah,
it was a
Cucurella.
penalty. It was a penalty because, like, if he doesn't get a penalty, then it's a foul, right? And he should have got a
True.
yellow card even otherwise. So the referee completely missed it. So this has been happening quite consistently with us, right? So a lot of decisions actually don't, benefit us. So it's like didn't matter a lot end of the day, but I think the referees, I mean, refereeing this in this PL season has been really, really, really bad. I mean,
See, there is not a one game wherein we don't talk about
yeah,
referees. It's always
yeah,
about
yeah.
referees who
I
end
think,
up
I
getting
think, yeah, I think
highlighted.
when you look at the Champions League game, right? So after the Champions League game, we never actually discuss about the referees because, uh, they have such good games and they're very cooperative. Even if there is an instance where the card is wrong, right? They have a discussion with the players. Whereas here, what is happening is that the referees actually try and get the spotlight on themselves, right? So they are a topic of
Yeah.
discussion almost every game. It's not only Arsenal. Like if you see the other games as well, there has been consistently bad refereeing performance throughout the season. Like, and I don't think anything will change in the near future. Like we have seen bad decisions even in VAR in front of us, right? So um, I'm not sure what exactly is gonna change. Like, but I'm not expecting referees to help us out.
So what
Was
do
it
you
a
think
penalty?
is it?
Yes, it was definitely a penalty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was stone
Yeah,
ball
Tarun.
penalty wherein we are lucky that we are not talking about the refereeing part
correct,
because we
correct,
got 3 points.
correct,
The 3 points was the most important thing that day. So,
correct.
and to add on to it, I felt Julian Timber had a great game.
Correct,
He
Yeah,
correct,
was
true.
running up and down. He was very physical. Didn't allow the wingers to get in. He was even supportive to right winger. He was supporting Odegaard up and running up and down. He was very good. So he was one of the players wherein I felt, along with the other three which you have mentioned, Prathamesh, he was also a player who stood out.
I
So
think
one of
up.
the things, yeah.
Hmm,
So one of the things, sorry to interrupt. So one of the things
it's
which
okay.
I want to tell you about Timber is that since you mentioned him, like he's coming back from an ACL, right? And to play
Yeah,
Yeah,
this many minutes consistently and at a high levels, because I think you have also suffered an ACL, right?
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So
oh,
That's why
come back.
I have.
Yeah,
Yeah, go
yeah.
on,
Tell
go
me.
on.
Yeah, yeah. Go on.
That's why I have a special interest on him. I know he missed the entire season last season with
Correct,
ACL, and
correct,
he has come back to the game
correct.
like he had never had that
You know,
yeah,
injury
correct,
before.
correct,
So
correct. And playing, he's mentally very, very good because then to come back from that injury and perform from the day one, even in the beginning, like he never had moments where he was bad. Like he has been consistently performing well, and to a point where White has been good for the last three years for us. Like he's been consistently one of the best right backs in the league.
yes, yeah,
But
yeah.
I think none of us are actually saying, Rice needs to start. Like what happens with other departments, like what we're discussing with Saka, for example, or Kai Havertz, that we sort of miss these players, right? But it never happened with White. Like White went out, and we had Timber replacing almost instantly, and he's performing at the high level, really well. Like.
And right now, I guess White has to do a lot of work to get back into the
Correct,
team.
correct, correct. So he's not a
That's
default
special
pick
credit
also.
to Timber.
true.
Correct, 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 correct.
I think apart from like Partey and Gabriel Magalhaes, I think these three, and I can say thoda about Rice also. So ये चार players has been the most consistent player for us. Like ये
Okay,
चार players सबसे ज्यादा consistent है इस season में. राइस
okay,
उतना नहीं था मेरे हिसाब से, but
okay.
पार्टे
Rice initially नहीं था, yes.
yeah,
I think
Initially
yeah,
Rice
Raya
नहीं
has been
था.
the standout as well. Raya has been
Yes,
really,
yes.
really good.
yeah.
Raya, ka, I think save percentage is near 80s, I think, which is the highest in the league. And I think third or fourth,
74%, I
yeah,
guess.
74%.
Yeah,
And it's
something.
like near in the top four in the Champions League. So that's really good, right?
Champions League, yeah.
Yeah, so he's saving us a lot. And the thing is, because actually doesn't make a lot of saves, people actually think that काफी saves नहीं हो रहे इसके लिए Raya isn't coming in the conversation. But even if it makes those two important saves, it's very crucial for us because दो goal गए,
Okay.
and especially right now the scenario is दो goal गए, so we are losing basically because we don't have players to score two goals. So like if
So,
you see the last 3 or 4 games, he has been making at least one good save almost every game, right? So I think Raya actually deserves to be in the conversation of top 3 or 4 players, I guess.
Actually,
even if he
but
doesn't
why?
make saves,
Yeah,
Yeah,
he sweeps well. He
correct,
reads the game and sweeps well
correct, correct,
immediately. Even
correct,
in the Chelsea game, I guess Saliba had a moment with Neto,
correct,
and he
correct,
came out and swept well.
correct,
Credit to
correct,
him as well.
correct, correct.
but वो कुकुरेला वाला शॉट में तो बस आ ही गया था.
Yeah, yeah,
मतलब ऑलमोस्ट
yeah, yeah,
बहुत rarely you see it from
yeah, yeah,
Raya.
yeah, yeah. Very, very
Absolutely,
rare,
yeah. That was a rare moment. Yeah,
rare moment.
I
Yeah,
thought it ended up back in the net.
yeah,
Luckily,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
hit the post, right, outer post,
yeah.
and went out.
No, I think it just missed out there. It didn't
it
hit
Just
it
it.
missed
missed the
out.
post.
Yeah, it missed the post.
And what about Champions League, dude? मतलब मैड्रिड है क्वार्टर फाइनल में. सो व्हाट आर योर थॉट्स? मतलब आपको क्या लग रहा है? मैं तो बहुत आई एम वेरी एक्साइटेड बिकॉज आफ्टर व्हाट 2006 हम खेल रहे हैं 19 सालों के बाद. तो भाई मतलब
Yes,
एंड
Yeah,
अपना जो प्रीमियर लीग में जो रिकॉर्ड है पिछले 2 सीजन में वी हैव नॉट लॉस्ट एनी मैच अगेंस्ट बिग सिक्स टीम ना. तो वी डू वेल
correct,
अगेंस्ट बिग टीम्स.
yes.
correct,
सो
correct.
उसके लिए मैं तो बहुत
But
एक्साइटेड
this
हूँ.
is
बट
Madrid.
Yeah.
दिस इज मैड्रिड या.
I mean CL. I mean their level in CL is like on the very, very top, and the mentality is very good, right? So I'll be really honest. I'll go first, and I'll be really honest that they have really good quality that aims to sort of hurt us. But what I am seeing, as you just said, because our record is good, and we are very good off the ball, right? So we will actually fight in this game, and no doubt about it. So it won't be sort of like a 5-1 victory or a 6-1 victory. Like a few of the rivals are actually predicting a whitewash. It won't happen. I think it will be
Yeah.
somewhere around 2-1 or 3-2 sort of a scoreline. If we kind of score early, you can obviously like score a couple of goals very early in the 15 or 20 minutes at the Emirates. Then we have very very good chance of going through, because then we'll actually low block, and when we low block, we have seen like what we did against City, right? It's very difficult to penetrate us. So I can see us stop Madrid for at least at the Emirates. So we'll go with a 2-0 victory at Bernabeu. You can never say. I mean, end of the day, luck also favors the brave, right? So,
True,
but
true.
I mean, had we got Saka and Havertz for this game specifically, I think we
Yeah.
had a very, very good chance, very, very good chance of going through. But it's really, really sad that both of them, like, they have been pivotal for the season, and both of them are
True.
out during this game.
See, a few good things are Madrid is a team who won't sit back. They will come
Correct,
and attack us, and
correct,
we saw PSV also coming and attack us when we
correct,
literally thrashed them.
Yeah.
So that is one good point wherein even though they are attacking, we have a chance to counter attack or get behind their defense, and their defense has been struggling lately as well.
correct,
So I believe we have a chance there scoring, provided our midfielders do well against
correct,
moderate.
correct, correct.
And if Saka is included, then we have a game.
Yeah, sure. I think
So you guys think Saka is gonna start?
in the first leg, I don't think it's possible for him to start, according to me, because he's back. As I told you, he had a surgery and he's back after 3-4 months. So, playing such a high level game is really tough for me. I mean,
Hmm.
if it was a league game or something, I think he would have definitely started, but I don't think it's possible for him. I think he'll get 15-20 minutes off the bench, but the starting lineup will be like Merino will be playing center forward, Ethan on the right, Martinelli on the left when everyone is fit, right? Partey as the six, Rice and Odegaard as the eights. I'll start MLS and Timber because both are really good one-on-one against the tricky wingers, and obviously Saliba, Magalhaes and Raya in the back three. So that's what I'll be going with. Yeah, Tarun, what about you? What do you feel like? Do you think Saka will be back,
Uh,
and who do you start like against Madrid?
See, Arteta said that he will be back in this week with the ball, training with the squad and whatnot. But then I feel he will get 15 to 20, not 15 to 20 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes against Fulham from the bench,
Okay, okay,
hoping so. And
okay.
then we play on Everton again.
Everton.
So there
Hmm.
even I feel 10 to 15 minutes again there to
Okay.
get into the groove. Just like Martinelli, who took 2 games, to come back and start playing again.
Hmm.
Then we are talking about the hamstring tear and surgery.
Yeah.
It takes time.
Correct, correct,
So even against Madrid at home, I see Saka starting from the bench even there.
correct,
So
correct,
he might get probably 20 minutes or 25 minutes there,
correct,
but then I guess he will start from the bench.
correct,
So my lineup will be same as you said. Uh, just one change I would like to see whether Martinelli can play at number 9 through the center,
okay,
because he did
okay.
for us when Oba had
Hmm.
suspension, I guess. So
Hmm.
he did very well for us in the middle. So
Hmm.
to get behind the defense of the Madrid,
Correct,
I guess Merino lacks space, and probably
correct,
he has a tendency to drop down.
correct.
Maybe because he has midfielder instincts in his mind. I would like to see Martinelli get behind the defense, playing through the middle, but uh, don't think Arteta will choose that line. So it
Okay.
is as similar as your lineup, I would
So
say.
don't you think when you're playing against Madrid, a person like Merino or a centre forward figure like Merino can be used, as a target man for Raya, because there'll be lots of shots with Raya will face, and to sort of relieve pressure. There's a player like Merino who will be like pinning the centre backs, right? And obviously he's very physical, right? So Raya can just use him as a target man to like pass long. Do you see that happening? The other advantage of Martinelli, which you said, is that you can use him as a counter attacker because he has pace, right? So you can just pass him the ball and he'll start running, and he's very quick. So the transition threat is there with Martinelli, but I think as a pivot or as a person, like as a target man, I think Merino makes a lot of sense. So,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
are you
I
actually
get your
choosing?
point. I get your point.
Yeah, which of the two are you choosing?
See, Merino will be, holding the ball, probably getting the wingers or the midfielder into the game,
Mhm,
which probably Havertz couldn't do it because of his, I don't know, technicality.
mhm,
Merino is technically good, better than
mhm,
Havertz, and
mhm.
as you said, Martinelli may run behind, but he cannot hold the ball as good
True.
as
Okay,
Merino. So
okay,
Merino is the one we need to go for.
okay. Fair enough. Yeah,
I think
Otherwise, the
first,
lineup remains the same as you said.
correct. Okay.
That is the
I
only
think
option we got.
Yeah, yeah. Don't have many options right now.
true. I think
So do you
first,
see
like
do you see
starting में,
Trossard?
yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Do you see Trossard starting or do you see Martinelli as a left winger?
I'll go with Martinelli at left winger, or probably
Okay.
right winger as well. Against we played against Chelsea, so right Martinelli on the
It
right,
was it
Trossard on
was
the
it
left,
was it was because Ethan wasn't fit for that game,
fully
wasn't
fit.
fully fit for the game.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was more like a rest sort of thing rather than Martinelli starting because of tactics or something of that sort. So yeah,
So in
so
that case, I'll go with Trossard at left because of the quality of the ball, and
mhm.
Ethan on the right.
Okay, Martinelli is a sub for you.
Yeah,
Okay, okay, fair enough.
because we can't play 90 minutes. We can't play Trossard for 90 minutes. He's a
Correct.
impact player,
Correct.
clutch player
But
who
would it
believes
make
in the goal.
sense? Would it make sense for you to actually have him as as a sub because as you said that he's an impact player, so we can sort of
Yes,
have an Archevin sort of a moment where he comes on and scores in the 88th minute or something, and the crowd goes wild, for example. So uh,
we have
possibly
we have been using Prasad that way as an
yeah,
impact player, wherein Martinelli used to
yeah.
start. Prasad used to come around 70th minute or something. So even in
Correct.
this game, even if Martinelli starts, it's good. Prasad can come in, but then Prasad has a knack of playing so many games right now.
Mhm.
He's used to the players around him, so he can dictate terms on the left wing and keep the ball, bring in the number eights like Rice into the game. And, twist and
Mhm.
turn around.
Mhm.
You need some factor there as well, not
Mhm.
just pace.
Correct. Take your point. Yeah.
I think first leg में तो it's not gonna be like as if we are gonna sit back. For me, like जैसा अपना वही high pressing होता है ना वो होगा. So it's not gonna be कि हम sit back करेंगे
See,
या counter करेंगे.
No,
we
it
are playing
depends
at
on
Emirates.
correct.
Yeah.
The point is, we are playing at Emirates, and we need to take something to burn about.
Correct.
We
True.
cannot go there having a deficit
Yeah,
or
if we
probably
yeah, if,
having
even
nothing
if
at all.
it's like a 1-0 for them, like it's over for us. Like if they win,
Yeah, yeah,
even if they
that's it.
like have a scoring game like 1-1, we have to make sure we win at the Emirates. Otherwise, there's no chance for us to because
We have to.
Bernabeu
We have to.
atmosphere is totally mad. I mean, it cannot go there and expect us to win. And the players which they have is like even from the bench, they are very elite players coming in. So there's an array of talent there, so it will be very tough for us. And like as like we have been discussing, we don't have many players like who can make changes from the bench, right? So we have only like as you said, Trossard is there. Maximum we'll have Saka, so two or three players who can come on and make some changes. But other than that, like we are totally done. Like we have like someone like Butler who hasn't played a single minute for us on the bench, and he would be there against Madrid as well. So not expecting him to come on and score against Madrid, right? So I mean, we are totally short in that aspect.
Butler
So
is
that's
a
why we
forward,
need to
right?
take something.
Yeah, what
Butler
happened?
is a forward, right?
He's a centre forward, right?
Center forward. Okay. Okay, Tarun, you were saying something. Sorry.
That's why we need to take something out of this game,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the first leg. We have something to take to Bernabeu, and
Mm-hmm.
there we can defend against them
Correct,
and show the quality which we showed against City in the
correct,
season.
correct,
Unfortunately, we considered in the last moment. So
correct,
I feel if we get any sort of goal or probably two goals to take to Bernabeu, we have a chance. But then we need to win this game at Emirates.
correct.
Correct. So अभी मुद्दे पे आके
Otherwise, Ah, yes, I get it.
Uh, you can complete your sentence. Sorry.
The Premier League, as you said, it's done. Won't
Yeah,
interest me. Even during the Chelsea game, I guess crowd was flat
yeah, yeah.
at Emirates. So they
Correct,
all are waiting for the Madrid game. That's it.
correct,
So
correct,
it's all about Madrid game and season done.
correct.
Yeah, true.
If you go through, we go through,
Hopefully,
or it's
hopefully,
done.
yeah, hopefully we go through. Yeah, so it's not only Madrid; it's Madrid plus three more games for us.
So season is over for us, right? For both of you, right? Champions League
In the
हटा दो,
For
PL,
season
Premier
खत्म.
yeah, in the
in
PL,
Premier
yeah,
League, yes. In
yeah,
Premier
sure,
League, yes.
yeah, sure.
So what do you guys think? Like what went wrong for us? Wait, let me rephrase it. मतलब क्या negatives और positives हैं आपको
Okay.
मतलब इस सीजन में लगे आर्सेनल की तरफ से?
Okay.
Uh, yeah.
I'll start with the positives. So, we are really, really good off the ball. Like we are elite off the ball, one of the best teams in the world. And this season again, we proved that we are like, very, 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 very good and very tough to beat. Like if you have seen us, I don't think we have scored. Anyone has scored more than 2 goals against us. I don't think so. I don't remember. I think the last instance where we considered 3 goals or more is like against Luton, and I think it was in December last year, last season.
Last game. Away.
Uh,
That was
yeah,
the
wait,
away game.
4-3 win. So
Yeah,
I
4-3.
don't think we have considered 3 goals or more like for more than 2 years like now. So like we are very very good like defensively. The other positive is like MLS and Ethan stepping up because I actually didn't expect them to play a lot of minutes this season, but both of them have stepped up and now they're at a position where um, uh, you know they are expected to start against Madrid, which is a huge, huge thing, right? Both of them are like 16, 17, 18 years old. They're playing against Madrid in the Champions League. So, again, a very, very good indication for our youth team as well, right? And the third is you mentioned this point again. Our top six record is really, really good. Like, we haven't lost a single game for the last 2 years. This year, again, we have consistently, beaten the top six teams or not lost actually. So record is really really good. So as you can see, here what is happening is a lot of actually the players who are like playing against us, the teams who are playing against us are like playing at a really mid block or a defensive defensive game against us. So what's happening is a lot of centre backs are centre backs like Gabriel and Saliba are playing very high and wide, and they're actually near the halfway line as you can see. So like this actually shows that we are feared a lot as a team. Like they know that we can hurt them a lot this season, and that's why they actually low block to actually stop us from scoring a lot of goals. So that's what is actually happening. Tarun, what
So
are
do you
your
think
thoughts?
that the
Mhm.
so do you think that the mid-table teams, have a blueprint to play against us when
Yeah, yeah.
they know that we,
They actually defend in a 4-4-2 sort of formation. So four defenders, then the four midfielders will be like making a second line, and both the forwards will be a bit higher up. So what they actually do is they just ping the ball forward, and the center forward, both the center forwards actually sort of play in transition. But all the four defenders and four midfielders are actually playing in a defensive role against us. So it's like the same thing is going to happen against Madrid as well. What I see is going to happen is that they'll be playing the four defenders, they'll be playing the four two center mids, which is Choumeni and Valverde will be playing will be playing a defensive role, and they'll be using the wingers and the center forwards as transition threat. So that's what is happening, and they actually implement a mid block or a low block against us. So either the four center mids are actually blocking us, or the four defenders are blocking us, and they know that we can hurt them a lot and score a lot of goals. So all these teams are very tactically good. Like even if you talk about mid-table teams, they're very very good tactically. Some of the coaches are really really good. Like so,
True.
yeah.
yes,
They know how to like kind of stop us. So this is the
they
advantage.
defend as well and they know how to counter as well.
Counter as
Use
well.
the moment wherein they can score one or two goals there.
Yeah, yeah,
They are good at that as well.
yeah. Yeah. Here you
Yeah.
can see, the number of shots per game and low XG per shot on the left hand side, left bottommost corner. So defense is so good, like people have to take long range shots against us, and it's like hopefully they score from those scenarios, right? But like we actually don't allow them to take shots on target. Obviously, Raya has been good, but our centre backs, both of them, has been really, really good, and especially Gabriel, right, as well. But even in attack, like we have very high sequences in and around the box area of the opponent. So these are some of the positives which I've taken out from the season. And obviously, I mean, I'll go to Tarun. Tarun will obviously make some points, and after that, we'll talk about the negatives as well.
Sure.
Tarun?
Yeah. Well, according to my opinion, we had a weird season with the injuries and the
Yeah,
referees making wrong
yeah,
calls and stuff.
yeah,
Otherwise, defensively we have been very good. I
yeah.
feel defense and the midfield is really good. We lack the attacking third part, which is obvious where we are not playing with a strike without a striker. We are
Correct,
playing a makeshift striker now.
correct,
So
correct,
we have struggled there to get behind the defenses against especially the low blocks.
correct.
So probably maybe because the striker is not there to make a run or
Okay,
something, or probably a midfielder is playing in a forward position who doesn't know to make a run. Who has an instinct to drop back, stay there for a longer period of time. That's where probably that's the reason maybe Odegaard has keeps the ball quite longer.
Hmm. Hmm.
so another point
Yeah.
which I want to make is that actually people actually or our fans actually don't realize that Jesus is a big miss for us, right? Because he's one of the players
Uh,
who's really, really good against the low blocks because he can create his own
True.
chances as
True.
well,
True.
right? So we're expecting him to actually come back this season, but again, like he got injured, and because of him, obviously we couldn't get another striker because Havertz is actually considered a centre forward by us, right? So having three good strikers in, we can't actually split the minutes amongst them. So it was really unlikely that we would actually get a striker unless one of those two, leave. And Havertz was obviously a player who we brought recently, right? So it was like either Jesus is leaving or we're not getting a striker. And obviously Jesus didn't leave, right? Obviously because of injuries as well. But he was one of those players who's very, very good against the low block. So we have some advantages of having him back. But unfortunately, again, he didn't play a role this season, which is very sad. Right?
Yeah.
he got injured the moment he was hitting the form.
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
was
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think,
scoring goals as well, and suddenly got injured. And unfortunate that he got again an ACL, which will take
yeah, he's
probably
out for the year, I guess. He's out
yeah.
for the year. I think he's gone till
That
December
makes us
20.
that makes us to even more to push for a striker next year.
Correct, correct,
True.
correct,
It
correct.
was surprising that didn't go for a striker in the January window.
Tan window, right, right. So one of the things
That's,
which I think a lot of people actually, sort of disagree with me is, I think a Jan, transfer signing or signing was necessary, but the quality of players in Jan is very low, right? So what options we had? We didn't have a lot of options. Like, when people talk about certain players like Quara, for example, right? So he's Picha. So he's obviously a player who went to PSG, but if you look at the wages which he has, or you look at the amount for which he went for, if we actually invest that much amount on a player like Picha, what will happen is we'll have less amount to spend in the summer, right? And if we have already made some sort of decisions, like go for Sesko, for example, or go for I would say Nico Williams, who is like a 50 million player, right? And Kvicha is like around 70-75 million. So if I made a decision, or if you are in advanced talks with Nico Williams or any other player, that disrupts our plan a lot, right? And um, so what happens is, especially with transfers, a lot of people actually don't understand. There's a lot of talk happens 5-6 months in advance. So what the journalists and all respond, or sort of tell on the TL or on Twitter or anywhere on the social media, a lot of stuff like the talking with the agents and all happens in January, in February, these period, right? So we have seen Chelsea already announce a couple of signings already, because these players have been talked to in the January window itself. Like, are you ready to come? What is your what is your Do you want to join us? How much will you take? What are your wage demands, etc., etc. So all these talks are already happening with certain players, which we aren't aware of, right? So I think in that aspect, I think spending so much money on Watkins or so much money on WeChat didn't make a lot of sense to me. Especially if you consider that a lot of our board must have also thought that it's very tough to challenge Liverpool with Saka out, because Saka is obviously one of our main creators, right? So, and he's one of the players who's irreplaceable for us. So it's like someone like City missing out Rodri, right? So it's like who's actually replacing him? There's no one who's good enough to replace him. So even if you get in Watkins, we have a hole in Saka which is actually missing for us. So I think from that perspective, they must have thought the PL is done. And I'm not sure whether what exactly was the thought procedure, but I actually agree with some point where I think that not getting a player in was kind of justified if we have a good summer.
But don't you think कि यार January में तो we were not out of the Premier League, right? January में we were still like what 6 or 7 points behind them,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I think like two season back when we were in a title race with City, right? So at least at that point of time we purchased Trossard, Jorginho,
correct,
and Kivior. तो उस time at least हमने एक willingness तो दिखाई थी to fight, right? Even though we didn't win the league, but एक willingness
correct,
तो होती है, ठीक है.
correct.
You don't get that particular striker जनवरी विंडो में अगर आपको बिकॉज इट्स एक्सपेंसिव बट देन व्हाट अबाउट 2 साल पहले हमारे पास प्लान भी था हम ट्रोसार्ड को ले आए थे एंड ही हैज बीन वेरी गुड फॉर अस so don't you think in that respect the club has kind of let us down?
Okay, so the thing is, I agree with what you're saying. Is with Jorginho and Trossard, for example, coming in, Kivior is a separate case. As in, I would say Nipan is a Kivior case because Kivior is coming as a player outside the league with very less expectations, right? So with Jorginho and Trossard, we had some level of expectation going forward. But the advantage was here कि क्या हो रहा था कि Trossard and Jorginho had Premier League experience, so they didn't actually take time to settle in. What should have happened with Sterling and Neto, right? But it didn't, obviously. But the thing is, when you're bringing a player outside from outside the Premier League, there's a certain period where it takes to acclaim for them, right? And we didn't have that period because we needed players who are ready from the start. And because we couldn't let go of Sterling, we couldn't let go of Neto, a Premier League loan wasn't possible for us. So I think from that perspective, I think getting a player, you have seen, for example, Tell, who came to Spurs, he has hardly played minutes because,
Tottenham.
yeah, from Munich, he has come to Spurs.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he hasn't played any minutes. Like he's been hardly playing because he's not adapted to the Premier League as of now. So if he's not playing for a team like Tottenham, and he's a good player, like he's one of the best under 21 players in the world, and he's not playing for a struggling side like Tottenham, right? So you can think what will happen when he comes to Arsenal under so much pressure, like, and if he has a couple of bad games, people actually point towards him and call him names, right? Because the social media is so anti-Arsenal, and you all know how the pundits and media actually behave against us, against our players. So he'll be under immense pressure. And obviously, Arteta will be against immense pressure because what is happening is you are limiting time for players like MLS or even Ethan, for example. If someone like someone, I would say someone like a CM might come in, Ethan would get less minutes, or a right winger had come, Ethan would have got less minutes, and he wouldn't have the showing which has done right now. So I think there are some positives as well and negative. But as I told you
See,
that if you have a very good summer window, I think this winter window can be forgotten about.
absolutely. If we have some good summer winter, then
Yeah.
they will be forgiven. But then the frustration part from the Arsenal fans come because last year we challenged City,
Hmm.
just lost the league to them with
Hmm.
within a few points.
Hmm.
This season, City had a dropout.
Correct.
Everybody expected Arsenal to come in and win the league easily, but then suddenly Liverpool had different plans
Hmm.
and surprised
Hmm.
us coming
Hmm.
in,
Hmm.
and we got our best player injured in the month of December,
Hmm.
and everybody is expecting to sign a player in the month of January. We have the entire month to see who can help us out for the rest of the season. That's where the frustration comes in. where we didn't replace Saka, who got injured. On the other hand, we had Gabriel Jesus missing due to ACL. We definitely had to go for a striker or an attacker on that matter. Then suddenly, unfortunately, whatever you may say, we lost Havertz,
Yeah.
and suddenly we don't have anybody up front, to play against the teams who have, put
Correct.
low blocks against us. So we
Correct.
don't have any target man there. So
Correct.
the frustration comes in where we don't do anything in the entire month, and suddenly we fall short.
Three
And
or four
you see
players are out.
Liverpool,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Correct.
And
Correct.
you see Liverpool, easily going through the league and getting the win. So
Correct.
this was
Correct.
the season wherein City dropped down, and we had to take the advantage of it, but we didn't.
Correct.
And
Correct.
we
But
were-
but the thing is, I'm not sure whether you believe this, but I don't think football is a cyclic thing. Like you cannot expect a team which is doing good for 2 seasons to actually perform well in the third
sure
season.
do, yeah.
If you see what is happening, just remove City and United for example. If you see what's happening with even our old team like Arsenal teams or even Liverpool under Klopp, he had a period where he had two very good seasons. Then there's a
Yeah.
drop off. Then he
Yeah.
had another couple of good seasons. Then there was a drop off, right? So when he won the league during COVID, the next season I think he finished around 63 points. I think 30 points below what they had because they
Yeah.
had injuries, right? So I think Van Dijk was out, Jota was out during that time. So these two or three injuries affected them, right? And they didn't have solutions for that as well. And this is Klopp we are talking about, who's like one of the most experienced and one of the well known, club managers in the world. And Arteta is still a new manager, right? And he has to learn from all these processes. What I would say about Arteta is he has to learn how to use his squad really well because this isn't about certain players, but if you have seen what is happening with players like Sterling, for example, a
Yeah.
player who had 12 goals and assists last year, he was brought in for a certain purpose, but we are not seeing him play at all, right? The same thing happened like last year. We haven't seen ESR play. We haven't seen Nelson play. This season, we haven't seen Kivior play. Like we have seen
Yeah.
Gabriel and I've seen White come in, right? Calafiore sometimes play as a centre back or a left back. You're bringing these players in, but you're not, sort of playing Kivior. So he needs to trust his players a bit more. So in certain cases you can sort of bring in or you can bank on these players when there's lots of injuries happening instead of just buying players from other clubs, I would say.
Yeah,
So do you
definitely.
think? Yeah. So do you think there is an ego issue here, like Arteta ka? Like
No,
he
I
had
don't
this
think
case with, अभी had this case with अपना पुराना striker, you know. So मतलब,
Aubameyang. Aubameyang.
मतलब
Yeah, Obama.
हाँ हाँ no
आवाज आ रही
Oba
है क्या?
was yeah
Hi.
Aubameyang, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
Aubameyang was a totally different case because he was not acting properly. He was coming late to trainings.
That was a
Aubameyang and
disciplinary issue, and
yeah, Ozil and both of them were like problems with the player, not with the coach as such. So I don't think he has any ego issues as such. But I think I think what is happening is that he considers certain players as elite, right? So there are like 14 or 15 players which he thinks are very good. The players below it are like players who he thinks aren't good enough to play for us, so he doesn't play them at all. So in his mind, like for example, I saw some certain things and which ESR possesses. Like if you see his box to box
Yeah.
runs, for example, he's
Yeah.
really good. So we could have made use of him in as a LCM in certain scenarios, but he didn't actually. So whether it's discipline, what's happening behind the scenes, we don't know. But I'm just saying that he needs to like trust his squad more because what happens is like three or four players down, and then you're certainly don't have options left at all and from the bench. So now he has under 21 players as a on the bench and all that stuff. So that shouldn't happen.
just wanted to ask, whose idea was it to sign Sterling?
It
Just because
was
we didn't
it
get
was
anybody coming in.
it was Arteta's because he has played Sterling has played under Arteta, right? And he has this mentality as well. If you see Arteta's philosophy over the years, he actually prefers a lot of older players as compared to the younger players. If you see his signings, right? He prefers someone like
Yeah.
Trossard. He prefers Jorginho, Partey, for example.
The more
Uh,
experienced players.
more experienced players. He prefers those over players. He actually played Holding as well during the title race over Kylian,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And Holding was one of
Yeah.
the, he, I won't say he's a bad player or a worse player, but he doesn't actually suit our system a lot. So he
Sister.
isn't good, like isn't good while defending on a high line and gets exposed a lot. So we actually played him against City of all teams. He got exposed and he lost that game and he lost the title indirectly because of him. But that's how much he rates certain players, right? So that's what I'm saying, that he needs to trust certain players a lot more than what he trusts.
This season, the positives will be Ethan coming in,
Yeah,
taking Saka's place and doing well. That kid has some talent there. And then MLS coming in, making the left back plays his own. And now suddenly he has been called up for England as well. And
yeah,
I'm sure he will be starting for them.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
he has a great future ahead as well. So these
Correct.
two are the positive. Then Gabriel had a good season so far, along with Timber and Raya.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what do you think? Who would be the player of the season for Arsenal,
I think it's Gabriel for me.
according to you,
It's
Gabriel?
Gabriel for me.
Gabriel Magalhaes, for sure.
My
I mean,
bias will be saying Timber, but I can see why
yeah,
Gabriel because he has scored
yeah.
a lot of
Both
goals.
goals, yeah.
He has been brilliant in both the boxes. Gabriel has been
Correct,
Yeah.
brilliant in both the boxes.
correct,
So
correct.
yeah, Gabriel will be a player of the season.
Yeah,
But defender being a player of the season, that says how our
yeah.
season has
It's
been.
correct, correct, correct.
What if he scores a
I don't
winner
know.
against Madrid?
I mean,
That would.
even if Sterling scores against Madrid, I think he'll be my player of the season as well if we go on and win the Champions League, right? So,
You never know. You never know. He has the experience. He
yeah,
might
yeah,
score and
yeah, yeah, sure, sure. Yeah,
undo all
so,
this bad play he has been
yeah, yeah,
giving
yeah.
us.
So suddenly he's like a legend for us.
Legend for us, absolutely.
Yeah,
We should thank Chelsea for that. If that
yeah,
happens.
yeah. On loan, on loan. Yeah. So yeah, so I'll come to the negatives as well. Yeah. So you can see from this chart, what's happening is that we actually score a lot of goals as compared to our XG. So we are not creating a lot, and that's because we depend a lot on Saka. Like, if I mean, losing one of our most creative players in the league will obviously have its effects, right? But we are too
Absolutely.
dependent on him. And the second thing is that we are a right hand side team, right? So we depend a lot on Saka, Odegaard, Timber, as Tarun said, is one of his players of the season. It's also because like he gets involved in a lot of runs on the right?
Yeah.
And this is something which teams have found out, and they actually overload us on the right or on their left, right? So we need to have some sort of unpredictability in this team, right? So someone who can create a lot on from the left, something like what Calafiore has been brought for, right? So Calafiore has that tendency of creating a lot of unpredictability in this team because of his
Yeah.
runs. So we need to, like, hopefully he's fit enough to play for us. So this negative will be something which we won't discuss in the very future.
Yeah.
My third point is, as we are just discussing, I think outside 13 or 14 or 15 players, I don't think a squad is good enough to challenge for the league. As in, if you see this, the squad which City have won the league in, they had really good players throughout. Like, they had, except Rodri and Haaland, even Haaland had Alvarez has his backup. So except Rodri, they have like quality across, right? So we needed someone, like, if we have Saka out, we don't have quality to replace him. If we have Rice out, we don't have quality to replace him. Obviously, Havertz is someone we miss. Raya, another scenario where Raya, if he's out, like, I'm not sure how
Yeah.
good Neto is right now, right? Megalis is another player. So there are like five or six places or five or six positions where we don't have good enough squad options with us. So we need
Even
to.
backup for Odegaard.
Correct. Odegaard.
Hmm.
We need to address this in the summer window, like, to bring players who are good enough to start for us in case of injuries, or if these players are out for certain reasons. Is there anything else which you want to, like, add from your end?
Uh, See, the entire season we haven't played White, Odegaard, and Saka at the right hand side.
Okay.
wherein the most of our attacks come through.
Okay.
And then we have missed Rice initially during the season. Then suddenly we missed Odegaard. White was completely out the entire season so far. Then we suddenly missing Saka. So there were moments wherein we were missing some of the other player in the entire squad, and we haven't been able to play the entire squad together, the preferred 11, I would say. And that was an unfortunate thing wherein we don't have options to like for like player to come in and you know get the goods done and stuff. That was the issue where we lacked a bit of options there.
Okay.
Wherein which Ethan came in and played well.
Hmm.
That's the only positive way.
Do you think we focus too much on City? कि मतलब, we focus that much on City कि Liverpool was like always under the radar. Right from that
I'll
game.
say I'll say we overlooked Liverpool. We just
Yeah,
thought that we are playing against City,
yeah,
and
yeah,
we forgot the fact that Liverpool has the experience, still has the experience, to win such games, and they know the technical know-how to win the leagues, and suddenly they took all the chances and overtook us. So we overlooked Liverpool. It's not that City dropped out and we just kept on looking City. We also dropped out with City.
true.
Unfortunately, we had injuries, and I'll always have that thing that wherein we had injuries, referee decisions going against us, and suddenly Liverpool and they overtook us. They completely deserve the title, to be honest. They
Yeah,
they
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. They've been the
yeah.
best team in the league this season.
best in the yes, yes. It will be a miracle if if they manage to bottle this one as well.
No. It's not possible. Like because I don't
Not
think we are
possible
in a
at all.
position to take
So
advantage
yeah,
of it as well.
absolutely. On that note, I guess the second position is quite ours because I don't see
Yeah.
Chelsea or City winning there all the games.
Even Forest.
So the
I think
second,
I think
even
the
Forest, yes.
yeah I think the race for the top five, because I think the five teams will be playing in the
Yeah,
season
yeah,
next
yeah,
season.
yeah.
Champions League.
So like the third to fifth spot is where the race is actually, because Newcastle can obviously come in, and because of a lot depends on Newcastle coming in the CL with respect to Isaac and
Yeah.
Bruno Guimaraes as well, right? So these
Bruno
two
Mm-hmm.
Guimaraes.
players, might leave if they don't get CL, but like again, it will cost a bomb, and that's something which we can discuss later on as well. But I don't think it's possible for us to get both of them because of the finances which are involved. But I think it's a high possibility both of them leave.
Okay.
That is
Uh,
if they don't get the Champions League. Right?
Yeah. If they don't get top five,
I think they are very close to top five. Like the point wise, not the table wise, not the position wise, but I think point wise they're very close to top five.
I
uh,
guess they are 1 point off.
Newcastle and Chelsea are like 2 points apart from each other, and Newcastle have a game in hand.
Yeah.
Okay. So what would be your top five? Let's say third, fourth, and fifth.
According to me, I think City might get third. Chelsea might drop off to fifth, sixth. I think because Chelsea, I think, actually don't have good enough technical ability to sustain certain games. So what's happening? What I've seen from Chelsea the last 2 or 3 games is that Enzo hasn't been, doing well for them. Like the manager, which I'm talking about, hasn't been actually, uh, you know, against a low block. They're really bad. I mean, even Palmer is struggling. Their best player is Caicedo again because he actually tackles well, right? And he's one of those players who actually, who's a recycler for them. And again, as you said, like someone who's a defensive player being one of the best players for a team actually says a lot about the team, right? So
No.
for them, it's Caicedo, right? So it's like,
Even
uh,
they are missing the number 9. Jackson is
yeah,
out for a quite while.
they are missing Jackson. They're missing even a winger of theirs, Noni, and Nkunku.
Maduke, yeah.
Yeah, Noni,
Mm.
and Nkunku is like someone like an Havertz, right? They never played center forward. He's like much more of an attacking mid. Neto is obviously a left winger and a right winger. He's playing as a center forward, so they're struggling a lot. They don't have goals in them. and they actually struggled a lot in the Europa League as well. I mean the Conference League as well, right? So they aren't scoring goals there as well. Like the goals which they scored has like 0.03 xg, 0.01 xg, like it's fluke goals. Like even the Chelsea fans are very frustrated. So I think there's a very good opportunity for City to get third, Forest fourth, and Newcastle to get fifth. I think Chelsea will finish sixth this time.
Chelsea
Hmm.
sixth. Okay.
Yeah.
For me, third will be Forest.
Okay.
Hmm.
I guess they will be having that run of form. Then
Okay.
fourth will be City,
Okay.
fifth Newcastle, and then sixth Chelsea will be missing out the championship spot.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the same for both of you then.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think
same.
he has Forest third. I think I have City third.
For me,
Oh,
Forest, yeah, Forest is third.
oh,
I don't
okay.
see
Yeah.
Chelsea,
Yeah,
playing,
yeah, yeah,
playing and winning
yeah,
their uh,
yeah.
future game because Palmer is out of form and they don't
Yeah.
have a striker to play with. So
Correct.
they are struggling.
Hmm.
Correct.
The best player they had against us was Cucurella.
Yeah, yeah. I
Hmm.
mean,
So
Cucurella
it's really hard.
is again a player who actually drifts wide and plays in a very advanced position. But again, he's very defensively very very poor.
So
So yeah,
yes,
and it all depends on James as well. I think James is actually playing, inverting and playing as a centre mid. He did
inverted.
against,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
he actually did against us as well. He inverted and played as centre mid with Caicedo. So like it depends a lot on his fitness as well because the replacement of his Gusto isn't really good or on that level, right? So even he has a lot of role to play if they have to get top five.
Deepesh, what
And
would be
what?
your top five?
Same, same, same. Third is Nottingham Forest. Fourth is City probably, and fifth would be Newcastle. Because
Newcastle.
चेल्सी का या फॉर मी अभी मैंने अभी देखा रिसेंटली उनका मैच ना. उससे पहले वो जब से उन्होंने पॉइंट्स ड्रॉप करना स्टार्ट किया ना, सो उसके बाद से मेरे को ये नहीं पता था कि जैक्सन इज आउट एंड मधु के इज आउट. बट उनका मैच देख के फॉर श्योर मतलब अभी तो ऐसा लगता है कि दे आर गोना ड्रॉप ऑफ. एंड एंड यू नो व्हाट कि बहुत सारे लोगों को ऐसा लग रहा है कि फॉरेस्ट वुड ड्रॉप ऑफ. सो आई डोंट थिंक सो बिकॉज दे हैव बीन डूइंग वेरी वेल दिस सीजन. So Forest is third, City is fourth, and definitely Newcastle should finish in fifth.
So Forest का भी ऐसे है कि lot of people think Forest is some fairy tale or all this stuff, but if you see their
Uh,
transfers last 3 years में उन लोग they have spent around 300 million. Like
Yeah,
since they have got back in the Premier League उन लोगों ने काफी
back in the
spend किया.
Premier League.
Yeah, and a lot of the players are like very expensive signings. So it's not like someone like I would say Brighton who's come up and getting third. I think Forest actually have the squad to push for the Champions League. I think they'll do
yeah,
well in the Champions League as well next season.
yeah. They have a very good squad. They
Yeah,
have very
yeah,
good squad,
yeah.
and there are a lot of fans.
Champions League will be a big
Yeah,
achievement for them.
Correct.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And Edu has gone there now.
yeah.
It's good to
Edu,
see some other team coming up and getting that championship spot.
yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's refreshing to see.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Surely.
It's no
90s.
longer the traditional top six.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Spurs have
but
dropped out really badly. United are like in a mess. Like I don't think United will be back in the top four for the next 3 or 4 years. What's happening there?
Hmm.
Because lots of job cuts. They have PSR issues as well, and they're on the verge of selling Garnacho in January just to fund their transfer window. So like they're in a mess and very very poor signings on very high wages like Anthony, Casemiro. Even Ugarte is one of the most overrated players I've seen. Like he's just sort of Torreira sort of player who just sort of tackles and people sort of cheer him. So he's not a really good technical player, not a player who I think Amorim will like to play consistently. So like if he has to play the way he used to play in the Sporting, I think he has to make massive changes because outside Bruno, Garnacho, Zerki, I think the entire midfield and backline needs to change. Like I think they need to at least get 6 or 7 players in if they have to like make in the top four. Because the as you
Massive
said,
task for them.
Forest, yeah, I mean as you said, Forest is a team which is pushing for top four, and then next season you'll see, Brighton, Brentford, and all these teams also
Yeah.
pushing, and they're very good, like very good off the ball, and they're
mm,
very good coaches as well. So there's no
Even
pushover.
even Villa on that matter.
Yeah, there are no pushovers. Like
Yeah.
they can win against us as well, and I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow Brighton or Brentford win against Arsenal. Like they are much more capable of winning against us as well. So that's the strength of the mid-table team. So I think United and Spurs have a lot to do. Like if they have to like get into top four, it's gonna be a huge task for them.
Okay, so this season is over, Premier League में. So what can we do next? So where can we strengthen our squad in the next season? Like आपको कौन कौन सी positions लग रही है where we can improve? Like of course we need a forward and of course a winger. But what are your thoughts? मतलब क्या करना चाहिए हमें summer transfer window में? It's gonna be a very crucial window for us because I think uh, 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 if we don't do well next season, it's gonna put a lot of pressure on Arteta for sure. Well, he has
Sure,
been very good, but we all
sure,
need trophies and not just FA Cups and Carabao Cups.
sure,
To be honest, I don't rate those trophies. So
sure.
we need to do something big. So what are your thoughts?
At the
Where
moment,
should we?
at the moment, at the moment, we are to the later stage of the process project,
Correct, correct,
whatever it is called. So we
Mhm.
cannot drop the project right away.
correct.
We
Yeah, yeah,
need
true,
players
true,
who can
true.
immediately fix the whatever hole we are having currently, and get the right away go and have a go at City and probably Liverpool on that matter. So next
Agree.
season, if we get a few players in, definitely a forward and probably backup to Saka, we have a good chance next year. And Mikel might have the next year itself, redeem himself for whatever he has done this season. Not him, but then as an entire club for not signing a player in January transfer window. So all those frustrations of Arsenal fans will go away if we do well in the next season.
And let's hope. So. What about you, Prathamesh?
Yeah, so I think what's gonna happen is this is my what I've assessed is sorry. Um, see, Liverpool are gonna lose a couple of players, good players. Like I think VVD, Salah, and Trent. So three of them are almost out of contract. Konate is another player who's actually linked to PSG recently, and he might also
Okay.
leave in the summer. So like we are seeing four players, actually two or three might certainly leave from there.
Mm.
And obviously Liverpool aren't backed by a lot of money. So that, and obviously Nunes is also on the way out. So Nunes is another player. Like he's a good player. Like okay, he's a very unpredictable player who can score goals here and there. So these are four or five players. I think at least three players might end up leaving. I'm not sure who they can get. Like I'm not sure who might start for them. But that apart, I think there will be a certain drop off after you see some level of elite players leaving a club. This happens on a regular basis. Like if you see a club, when someone like a Trent leaves, because Trent is a very central figure to the creativity, right? When he leaves, Liverpool will obviously drop off. City are in a position where they are actually rebuilding, because you see Pep signing a 2-year contract, getting younger players in. Rodri might come back from ACL, but he won't be the same player. KDB is obviously, very old, and he might end up leaving. So, Stones again is not reliable. So they have a sort of transition period. So next year I think is one of the best time for us to win the league. It's not like ये साल हम लोग हार गए and we are finishing 12 points behind Liverpool, so it's the end of the project, or Arteta out, ये out, वो out. वैसे कुछ नहीं है. I think next year is going to be very special for us. um, our players have still not peaked. For me, still not peaked, because a lot of the players, like, they peak when they are near the 25-26 year age.
Yeah.
If you're talking about the style, attackers and the central mid. So Rice is nearing his peak. I see Zubimendi coming. Zubimendi is again in his peak. Saka will hit his peak in a couple of years or next year. So we are seeing two or three. Havertz will obviously hit his peak. So these three or four players are hitting the peak at the right time for us. So it's the ideal time for us to win the Premier League. The only request for me is, what I request Arteta to do is to actually sign very good backups, because what is happening and why we lost the current season is because we don't have very good backups, right? So I just want
Mm.
us to like invest in a good centre forward, or even if you consider Havertz as a starting centre forward, you need a very good backup, and I think Sesko is one of them. Like Sesko is one of the best strikers, under 21 strikers. but he's still raw. Like I don't see him starting for Arsenal in the next year or so. So he can obviously start as a backup for Havertz, right? So get in Sesko. Zubimendi is the signing which we'll spend a lot on. We need a very good left winger who can play just like Saka, who can run up and down, which Martinelli isn't very good with. Martinelli is good in attacking scenarios, but he isn't good defensively, right? So we need someone like Nico Williams, for example, or Semenyo, and Barcola. These two or three players who are very good while defending, very good one-on-one as well. So these are the players we can get as a left wing, right? And they actually make us very very good. Like they're very unpredictable as well because they can score. They can drift inwards very good one-on-one, and they can score as well, right? The rest are more or less the backup options. As I was telling you, left back, we need a left back because I think Zinchenko will be leaving, Tierney will be leaving, Kivior will be leaving. So we need a good backup left back, backup left centre back, good goalkeeper backup. So these two or three positions we need good backup. But I think outside two or three good starting players, the rest are the backups which we require.
Do you think so? We're gonna hire so many players. Like you have talked about forward, you have talked about a left winger, then you have talked about a left back,
Yeah,
and you have
around
talked
six or
about
seven
a
players.
center.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think
I
that
don't
will
think
happen.
so.
I do think
You
that will
you
happen.
you do think?
Yeah,
What
I
about
do
you,
think that
Tarun?
will happen.
What about you, Tarun?
Uh,
You
for
think?
me, for me, we need definitely need a striker.
Mm-hmm.
As Prathamesh said, we need left winger as well. I'm fine
Mm-hmm.
with left winger being used as right winger as backup of Saka.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine with that. Definitely need a backup goalkeeper and
Mm-hmm.
a left back. Yes, because we have the luxury in the right hand side of the field, wherein we have Timber. Tomiyasu is not back yet. Back, he will be back again. White coming back to his best again. We have Saliba. We can rotate there, but we have one slot available for left back, and then Saka's backup is required, and one out and striker,
Mm-hmm.
preferably Isak.
Okay.
And then okay, but then what about a central defender? Like what I have heard ki Partey might leave us, and
Central mid.
Jorginho bhi ja raha hoga, yeah, right? So
Central
we'll be
We
mid.
have
needing
been
a backup for
in
them.
talks with
Yeah.
Zubi. We have been in talks with Zubi Mendy,
Okay.
right? So
Yeah.
I guess it
Yeah,
will be
so,
almost
so
done.
for, yeah, yeah. So for me, even a left back actually depends on MLS, right? If MLS is actually
Yeah,
a
yeah,
left
yeah, yeah.
eight, right? So
Yeah.
he plays on
True,
the
true.
left eight.
He might get into the
Position.
midfield as well.
So he
Yeah.
can play as a midfielder. He can play as a left back as well. So it depends on whom we are actually signing. If you sign a left back, MLS will play as a left mid or a six in this case. But again, it depends like whom we are getting. But I would say that Partey replacement will be Zubimendi in the squad. Jorginho actually doesn't play a lot, so it doesn't actually matter a lot. I think next season we might see Dorman play, who's again a really really good talent. I think you must have all heard about him, Max Dorman.
Mm.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
So he might actually get some minutes. So like he might have the same route which Ethan and MLS has got. So he might play a few minutes here and there. So I think Jorginho has played around 360, 370 minutes this season. So that minutes can go to
Mhm.
Dorman and not a big deal. I
So
would.
where would you play Rice? As a number six or number
So
eight? Because I
once
guess Zubimendi can also play as number eight.
Correct, correct. So I think once we get Rice, I think it will be like a 4-4-2 sort of a formation which are going for. So what I guess is what is going to happen is that Odegaard will be playing as a 10, out and out 10, like what we used to see with Shaka and
During his
Partey, right? So these two were the
yeah.
pivot. Odegaard was the free player in front, like he was a core 10 like for us, and we scored a
Mhm.
lot of goals those season. I think Arteta wants to replicate that because Odegaard is very good as a 10, right? So it will be like Havertz as a center mid, just behind him will be Odegaard, and then the four defenders, like four midfielders, sorry, Saka, Zubimendi, Rice, and the left winger, which are left winger you get, and then the back four.
Mm.
Mhm. And who will be the forward?
Who will be the forward?
Yeah.
I think it will be
Whom do you
Havertz.
want as a forward?
I think it
in
will
the
be
summer?
Sesko because I think it will be Sesko. I think
Sesko?
Isak is really doubtful for me. Even if
But
Newcastle don't get CL, I don't think he'll be coming to us because I think they'll be asking. I think Ornstein mentioned somewhere that they'll be asking 150 million for him. So it's like spending the entire summer budget on a player, and we can't afford to do that right now because we need to like bring in 4 or 5 players or 6 players in. So like getting Isak or even Bruno, like Bruno will be costing around 100 million. So it's not feasible for us this season, at least this summer.
For Isaac, it will be like 120 million is fine,
Yeah,
just because he has the potential, to
sure,
drop in,
sure.
to beat the players with the ball, to head the ball. He's good in the box as well. He can finish with his right and left foot. He's good, but around 120 million is fine. As you said, 150, keeping his injury run in mind. He's
Correct,
injury prone.
correct.
So
And
150
the
is quite a
and
bit.
the other thing is, I'm not sure whether Havertz is a player which Arteta will actually look to drop because
hmm,
what I've seen is that he's always involved. Like even if you see his off the ball work rate, it's really good. And
Absolutely. Yeah,
Havertz has
work
been
ethic is
like
really good.
yeah, so Havertz I think has been I think has scored around 26 has 26 goals and assists in 1 year like the last year which has played 2024.
Mhm.
He has more than 25 goals and assists. So like he's actually having those numbers to prove that he's good in a centre forward position. So how do you actually kind of just take him out of the team and put him in the bench? I don't think that's possible from my end. I don't think that will happen.
Okay.
I guess Tarun is a big Isak fan, right?
Yeah, even I am like even
Yeah.
I like Isak a lot, but I don't think it's feasible because of the finances. Like just spending 150 million on a player and then
Yeah.
not getting a centre mid or a left winger, that will affect the season again. Like then tomorrow, like again the next season Saka is out again. We'll be like questioning what happened, right? So that shouldn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah. We need to, get the backup players as well, so we cannot spend the entire amount on one striker.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
had three strikers in mind. One is
yeah,
Isaac, definitely. Second
yeah,
is Gyökeres,
Yeah.
yeah.
who has been good.
Yeah.
And third is Osimhen.
Osimhen. Okay,
These three strikers
Awesome.
in that
okay,
order.
okay. I like Sesko a
Any
lot
thoughts on
because like
Gyökeres?
um,
Hmm?
I think I think he's a good player, but I don't think he's played in the top five league till now. So that's a very negative point for me because because we never know how this player might end up in the Premier League, and he's 28. So if he flops, like we will be no man's land. Like we have no resale value for these players as well, right? So that's the biggest negative with Gyökeres for me. Um, with what I understand is Sesko is also in an advanced position for us. Like if you read what's happening or what a lot of journalists around Arsenal have been saying, I think Sesko is in a very advanced position and he won't be cheap as well. He'll be like 60, 70 million sort of signing. So when investing a lot of money, hopefully he pays off. Like because he's the future. Like if you see his record, he has 100 goals, and in the last 25 years, I think he's the only player who's under 20 and has scored more than 100 goals in the top five league. So he has the potential to like bang a lot, and especially when you have Saka and a good left winger, or even Martinelli providing you know balls to him. I think he'll bang a lot here. It is still raw. I mean, he can be molded into a good striker. Another player actually whom I like and a lot of people actually don't mention is Liam Delap, right? So he's a really good player and from Ipswich. If you see,
Ipswich. Yeah.
yes, see,
Yeah.
it's
He's
like
good.
and obviously he's a City graduate, right? So
Yeah.
he's a really good player, and I think he'll be playing in the top six team in a couple of years' time. So I hope
He's
that
a menace in the box as well.
yeah. He's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
good. I
Yeah.
mean, City actually, actually couldn't keep him. He was. I think he came in India a couple of years back in the under 17 World Cup
Okay. Is
selection.
it?
World Cup.
I think he was there. I'm not sure, but because I've read somewhere he was in India. So anyway, so he's very highly rated. Like from the under 17 ranks, he's been playing for England. So yeah, I mean, he's one of the players who I would keep an eye on in case like if Sesko says no to come. I think Delap is another player. He will be somewhat like a cheap signing for us and a very good potential to like get in and kind of mold into Arteta's striker.
Kind of
Jonathan
signing.
David.
No, I don't think he'll come. It's my. I think he's a
Jonathan
free.
David,
Yeah, I think he's a
free
free.
agent. Yes, yes.
I don't think he'll come back.
I guess I think we should be getting him as backup to our main striker if needed.
Okay.
But then on the other hand, we have Havertz as well. You can be used as a backup. So,
Correct. Correct.
so Isak for me.
Sure. What about the left back? Any left winger? Any names which are
Nico Williams for me, as you said, left winger. He has been the player of the match in the Euro finals. He
mhm.
has the
Hmm.
potential. From the numbers don't back him at the moment. He
Okay.
doesn't have good numbers, but
Okay.
then he can give competition to Martinelli. So
Sure.
he can
Sure.
right away start the games for us.
Sure.
He's a moment player, and the best part is he can be playing he can play right wing as well as a backup of some.
Yep.
We can use him there.
Yep.
So Nico Williams is the one.
Yep.
Uh, any
Center.
backup goalkeeper
I think Johan Garcia is the player which will get. I think personally
is
because
the
he was
one.
very good. Yeah, I
Mm,
think he's like a he's very highly rated and very good. Like he's similar to Raya in a sense that he's very good with the feet and he's a much better short stopper than Raya. Raya, as you said, that against Cucurella he has those moments where
Hmm.
you
one
feel that
moment, yeah.
he's a bit nervous. So I wouldn't say it happens frequently, but there's obviously a player who is better than him in that regard. I
Perfect,
think
perfect.
I think Garcia is the one which we'll get. So it's like I think our summer signing will be like Nico Williams, Sesko, Zubimendi, Garcia, and I'm not sure of the backups because I think it will be like Nipan will be one of the players I think we'll get as a left centre mid, who is like a very young player, and I think we'll get another young player as a left back or a left centre back, like a keyword replacement. I'm not sure of the name right now, but I think these 4 or 5 names are the players we'll get.
Perfect, perfect. If those
Okay.
those those players come in, we have a good chance next
Yeah,
year.
we have a chance. We have a chance. Yeah, surely.
We will no longer be Netflix XG.
आई थिंक दैट्स अ रैप हैं अभी चैंपियंस लीग के बारे में बात
Sure.
करते हैं
Sure.
सो प्रिडिक्शंस करते हैं लाइक सारे मैचेस के
Perfect.
क्वार्टर
Okay.
फाइनल के
Okay.
ओके गो ऑन बार्सिलोना एंड डॉर्टमुंड
Tarun, bol. Start with you.
Barcelona are in good form with Yamal playing well, Rafinha. So I
Correct.
think who's playing home first?
Oh, I think
दैट वी
Barca
हैव
is
टू
at home.
चेक
Barca.
Barca is at
Barca.
home first. Yeah.
Anyways. I see Barca going through
Yeah.
that picture. Probably 4-2 aggregate.
Yeah. Yeah. So I
या
think I agree with the Barca point. I think Barca actually beat Benfica, in the last round and with 10 men in the first leg, right? So
Yeah.
and Dortmund actually have that factor where they actually reached the finals last year, right? And but this season they're having a really bad season. Like they're in ninth or tenth in the league, I said, suppose. So I
Yeah.
think their attackers are really good. Like as you mentioned, like Yamal and Rafinha will be too good for them. And I actually predict a 4-0 victory for Barca because I don't think Dortmund have
Dortmund
the
is
ability to score against Barca this season.
of course Barcelona all the way did you saw that match Barcelona versus Atletico recently like 2 days back so Barcelona I guess were
4-2
two
score
two
line.
zero down. Yeah,
2
they
nil
were like
down. Yeah. Yeah.
2-0 down till
2 nil
70th
down.
minute.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
We came back.
I think the only way a team can score against them is like exploit their high line. So मतलब वो ही एक चांस है करने का बट मेरे को लगता है डॉटमेंट एक गोल तो करेगी
I
वही
think
काउंटर पे एंड ऑल
Casado got injured, right? I think that game. Mark Casado.
या
I think yeah,
Yes.
he's one of the best players. They are best players this season. Like
या
he's the sixth, right? And they have Gavi and De Jong only left. Only 2 players left. So उनका भी ऐसे हम लोग की तरह हाल है लाइक वन प्लेयर डाउन डियोंग डाउन तो गया उन लोग का भी सीजन
Yeah.
सो
या
Yes.
या सो
PSG Villa.
विला
आई
फॉर
थिंक
मी
I think PSG. Like I think 4-2 on aggregate because again, like they beat Liverpool or were like one of the favorites, right? And City in the group stages, and that Vitinha, Jao Neves, Dembele, Quara,
Dembele,
all
form of his
yeah,
life.
form of is like
Yeah.
Barcola, Desire, all these players like will be too much for Villa. I mean, I think 4-2 on aggregate somewhere around that sort of a scoreline. What about you, Tarun?
Even Nuno Mendes at left back. He was
Yeah, yeah,
brilliant
yeah.
against Salah.
Yeah. Nuno Mendes,
In
yeah.
the second leg, he was really brilliant.
Really brilliant.
For me, PSG is going through. For me,
Yeah,
PSG is going through.
yeah,
I'll say 3-1 to PSG aggregate.
yeah.
I would back Villa just because of Unai Emery, because of his record in Europe and all. Just
Mhm.
matlab, because of that only, not of course. PSG recently has been in a very good form, but I have this. It's more like a intuition, like it's gonna be 3-2 for Aston Villa. But they're gonna come good on that day. Just they did it against Bayern Munich, right? They were like pretty good against Bayern this season.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I have this gut
So,
feeling just because of Unai Emery, he sets his team very well.
Suddenly, we are seeing teams who have played playoffs are favorites now.
yeah.
Madrid, PSG,
Yeah. But this
Yeah,
format has been really good, right? So there's no
really good. Yeah,
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 there's no like favorite who's coming in the top eight or what used to happen earlier was the best teams used to always finish in the top of the group stage. They never used to play
yeah,
each
yeah.
other. Like the PSG and Liverpool would never happen like in the old format. Like so, this happened
Mm,
right now, and it's a good thing. Like a lot of good games happened
yeah.
in the last stage, right? So it's a good format, and it actually proves like because I think Liverpool lost to PSG or something on the last day. Um,
PSV, yes. They played
yeah,
a depleted side,
yeah, and
played
if they would have won, they would
juniors,
have
yeah,
actually they would have
yeah.
actually not played PSG. They would have played Monaco, I
PSG.
guess. So
Monaco.
I think I think so. Yeah, so it was something of that sort. So I think that's the thing, right? So they actually lost one game or didn't play well in one game, and everything
Mm,
changed for them.
fine margins.
Yeah.
What is the next game?
So what about
Uh,
Bayern?
Milan and
Bayern
Munich.
versus Inter. Bayern versus Inter.
oh, that is a tricky game. Inter with a good defensive record and
Yeah,
Bayern with Harry Kane. You
yeah.
don't want him to win the
Yeah, true.
trophy before Arsenal doesn't. Still, with Bayern's experience in the Champions League,
Yeah.
uh, it will be a close game. I think it will be three. I'll go with 2-1. 2-1 aggregate to Bayern.
To Bayern. What about you, Dipesh?
1-0, 1-0. It's gonna be a more like a tactical game from Inter, na?
Okay.
So they're
One
very
goal.
strong defensively and tactically. They are very good, na?
Yeah.
Italy ke team.
Yeah.
So for me, I
Right.
think it's 1-0 to Bayern. But
Okay.
yeah, Harry Kane can score then two goals. So 2-0
Okay.
भी हो सकता है.
Okay.
On that matter,
I actually, yeah, I actually go with
on
Milan.
that Milan.
Actually, go with
Oh,
Milan. Yeah, because I think they're
interesting.
very strong. They're very strong defensively. Only two goals, considered this full CL, season,
Champions League.
and they have Martinez and Giroud who are like in form right now. And tactically, Inzaghi is one of the best
Yeah.
managers in the world, right? And he obviously has an upper hand over company. I think if Munich had like someone like Tuchel there, I would have said that there was a chance. But I think Milan have the upper end. I actually predict Milan to actually win the CL this season, according to me. They are the
Oh,
favorite for me.
that is
Yeah,
a that is a bold call.
yeah. I think they're the favorite for me to win the CL. I think it will be PSG versus Milan in the finals for me.
In the final.
Yeah, I think so. If
Even
obviously
even
I
now,
want Arsenal to get there and win the CL, but realistically, it's not happening, right? So, to be really frank with you, I mean.
even Lautaro Martinez is an option
Yeah,
as
yeah,
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And what about our game, huh? Real Madrid versus
I
Arsenal.
think we are gonna lose 3-1 somewhat around that line. Like, I don't think we have a chance against them, especially with Saka and Havertz out. Because it's a really tough game. I think people expect us, as I said in the beginning, like it will be a really tough game. It won't be like a whitewash like what we'll see with Barca and Dortmund, like Barca attacking, scoring 4 or 5 goals. That won't happen, but they have too much individual quality, like Mbappe, Bellingham. Fede is one of those guys who can score from the low blocks. Like if there's implementing a low block, if you're implementing a low block,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Modric and Fede are players who can score from a distance. So
Distance. Yeah.
yeah, so it will be really really tough for us to like come unharmed. So like if we like even win against Madrid, I think I'll say that Arteta is one of the best coaches we have ever had. Like I would actually rate him over Arsene Wenger because I
Wow.
don't think Arsene
Yeah.
Wenger would have pulled it off. It's almost impossible.
Mm. What about you, Tarun?
Uh, Heart says Arsenal.
Oh wow!
Mine says Madrid. Let's say we are playing at home first. We need to take something to burn about. So I'll predict 2-1 in the first leg,
Hmm.
For
and
Arsenal,
then
right?
yeah, 2-1 in the first leg for Arsenal, and then we go to Bernabeu and probably lose 2-0.
Oh,
Okay.
a 3-2 aggregate.
Yeah,
For
Oh.
me, I'm
but
gonna go with my heart.
So what does it say?
I'm going for Arsenal win 4-3. It's gonna be
Oh
very
wow!
entertaining, both the legs.
Wow!
see,
Wow!
guys, we didn't touch upon set pieces.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
That
yeah.
will be one weapon for us, especially keeping in the defense, their defense in mind. They have been, vulnerable in defensive areas. So set pieces will be very crucial.
Very crucial.
Any goals from set piece, I am taking that.
Yeah, but one of the things is Tarun that a set piece hasn't been good since Saka has been out. If you see the last 2 or 3 months,
Yeah.
we
True,
haven't
true.
scored a lot of goals from set pieces. So
From yeah.
from the corners,
From the
right?
right
So
hand side, yeah. From the right hand side where Saka used to stay,
yeah,
the quality of the ball is not as good as
not that
Saka's.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wherein
that
Rice is doing well on that matter.
Rice is doing well, yeah, because
Yeah.
from the other side, Rice actually pings the ball really well. So I think, as you said, that it depends on a lot of factors. But I think if you go with the individual quality, and as of right now, because like we are, actually 3 weeks away from the fixture, so you never know.
Mm-hmm.
Like as you said, that if Saka is fit enough to play, if Havertz,
Mm.
I'm not sure Havertz will play anyways, but if there are a
Havertz, I
couple of
guess, is out for the season.
is out for the
He's
season. So
out.
if
Yeah.
a couple of injuries to Madrid players like Mbappe or Bellingham is out, you never know. Like you can hope for the best, I would say. But
Yeah, as you
right now,
said, 3 weeks is a long time.
it's a long time. It's a
Three
Yeah,
long
weeks
time.
is a
yeah,
long time.
And they're also fighting for the league as well. So it's not like us like
Mm.
where we can rest certain players in the league and go full throttle on in the Champions League. So they have to play the full their best players in the league as well. So that also plays a factor.
Some of the interesting, duels we will be seeing is Vinicius against Timber.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
will be a
yeah.
brilliant battle.
yeah,
Saliba against Mbappe,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and probably
Rodri,
Gabriel or Skelly playing against Rodri. That will be
Rodrigo.
a
Rodri.
brilliant battle. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I guess in the first leg, Chaumini is missing due to the
Charmany is
suspension.
out. Charmany is out. Yeah.
So I guess
uh,
Modric will come in.
Modric, Fede will be the likely pivots
Yeah,
who
yeah.
will play. Hmm.
Rice has to do a lot of work there.
Right has to do a lot of stuff, right? And they
yeah.
actually, I did mention this. I'm not sure if I mentioned. They actually play the 4-4-2 attack, right? So it's like Mbappe
Mm.
and Bellingham who will be like attacking the line. So if our if our five are really good, five as in Timber, MLS, Gabriel, Gabriel,
Rice.
Saliba, and Partey, right? So these five will be the crucial players for us. If all five of them perform well, then we have a really, really good chance. But the thing is,
Good time.
give them a sniff and they'll score. They're such a good team. Like you need to be really, really good over 180 minutes or more. Like so, yeah, that's the thing.
Hopefully,
Hopefully, yeah, hopefully,
Oh,
we
hopefully we
might
are
go
wrong.
through.
Dipesh is right on this one.
Only the page is right on this matter.
Dipesh is right.
yeah, hopefully.
With the predictions. Yeah.
With Saka, I guess ki Arteta is gonna go for total mind games and all. Even we won't be knowing before the match.
Yeah,
He'll be starting or
yeah.
like, and you might see him in the bench
Mhm,
first leg mein. That
mhm,
might happen
Mm.
just to play those mental games.
mhm.
He's there on the bench. He can come and score and all. And I think after the first leg, he's gonna start, not start, but he is gonna come from for some matches in the Premier League. Like एक match रहेगा बीच में उसमें, and then he'll be available for the second leg. This is what I think. कि ऐसा, this is what Arteta is gonna do.
Correct. Could be the reason.
In between, we have two games as well. Where if needed, we can use him as a sub against
Yeah.
Fulham and Everton, as we spoke earlier.
Yeah.
Once he's back with that groove, we can
Yeah,
we might see him start against Madrid. We don't know.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
It's almost 1.5 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
You're right.
It's more than that. It's almost, yeah,
Yeah.
2 hours, one
15
hour
मिनट
40.
सोचेगा कि नहीं. हाँ हम लोग
Sorry.
you are like initially saying कि 15 मिनट में खत्म हो जाएगा and all that stuff. Went on for
Yeah.
around 2 hours.